Fish oil. It's one of the most popular supplements out there, right? I mean, it promises everything from a healthier heart to a sharper brain. But when you grab that bottle off the shelf, how much do you really know about what's inside? Okay, let's get into it. So we're going to look at a super popular one as our guinea pig, Pure Alaska Omega from Costco. And you see comments like this all over Reddit and forums, people who absolutely swear by it, saying, they can actually feel a difference. And that's a pretty powerful testimonial. But for every rave review out there, there's always that little bit of doubt, isn't there? That supplement aisle can feel like the Wild West, just a wall of bold claims and labels that are kind of confusing. So how do you even begin to cut through all that noise? And then you see the other side of the coin. This comment from the exact same Reddit thread mentions a past lawsuit. It claimed the product didn't have what the label promised. And this right here is the central problem, isn't it? It's our trust as consumers versus how transparent the industry is willing to be. So, to figure out what's really going on, we have to start where every single one of us starts, with the bottle itself and all the promises it makes. And the marketing, you got to admit, it's really good. We see all these compelling terms like wild caught, cold pressed to extra virgin. I mean, these words just scream purity and quality and natural goodness, right? And then you see USP verified. That's a seal from an independent group, the US Pharmacopoeia. It sounds super official, and we'll circle back to why that one really matters in a bit. And that's exactly what those words are supposed to do. Build your confidence before you even twist the cap. But at the end of the day, they're just words. To know what they're really worth, we have to look past the marketing and into the actual science of what makes fish oil work. So let's push the marketing aside for a minute and actually look at the science. We need to understand the key active ingredients that are supposed to be doing all the heavy lifting in your body, the omega-3s themselves. All right, just a quick refresher, omega-3s are called essential for a really simple reason. Your body literally cannot make them. You have to get them from your diet, and they are absolutely fundamental for your cells to function properly. Now, within the omega-3 family, you've got the two big stars of the show, EPA and DHA. Here's an easy way to think about it. EPA is mostly for your body. It helps fight inflammation and supports your heart. DHA, on the other hand, is mostly for your brain and your eyes. It's an actual structural component. They're a team for sure, but they have different specialties. Okay, so let's bring this science right back to our bottle from Costco. If you check the label, each soft gel has 110 milligrams of DHA and 90 milligrams of EPA. So what that tells us is it's a pretty balanced ratio, with just a little more DHA, the one that's more linked to brain health. And this brings up a really important point for you. The best ratio isn't a one-size-fits-all thing. Are you taking it more for cardiovascular support? Then maybe you want more EPA. Are you more focused on cognitive function? Then maybe you lean towards higher DHA. It really depends on your personal health goals. Okay, so we've looked at the marketing and we understand the basic science. Now it's time for the moment of truth. Can we actually verify the claims on that bottle? This is where we stop looking at promises and start looking at cold, hard data. This right here is called a Certificate of Analysis, or COA. It's basically a lab report from a third party that the company makes available to the public. And honestly, it's the single best tool we have to see if we're actually getting what we paid for. So let's start with potency. The label promises at least 72 milligrams of EPA and 88 of DHA. So what did the lab find? Well, they found 95 milligrams of EPA and 118 of DHA. So for this particular batch, the product doesn't just meet the claim, it actually exceeds it. That's a good start. Next up, freshness. This is a big one because fish oil can go rancid. That makes it less effective and it might even be bad for you. These tests measure oxidation, and the key thing to know is, for these numbers, lower is better. As you can see, the lab results are well below the max limit, so the oil is fresh. Check. And finally, purity. You want to make sure you're getting pure fish oil, not a dose of heavy metals or other nasty stuff like PCBs. The lab report gives a clear pass on all the key tests, so it's clean from those major environmental toxins. Okay, so the lab report for this specific product looks pretty solid, but that brings up a much bigger question. Why do we, as consumers, have to do all this detective work in the first place? Well, this gets us into the surprising and kind of wild reality of how supplements are regulated. This quote, straight from the FDA's own website, really says it all. Unlike prescription drugs, the FDA does not have to approve supplements for safety or effectiveness before they show up on store shelves. The responsibility is almost entirely on the company making it. So the process basically looks like this. A company makes a product. They are responsible for making sure it's safe and the label is accurate. Then they just start selling it. The FDA usually only gets involved after a problem gets reported by consumers. It's a reactive system, not a proactive one. And it explains how those controversies we saw on Reddit can even happen. So, with all that in mind, how can you be a smart, empowered consumer in this supplement Wild West? Let's put together a quick and simple toolkit. Here's your checklist. First, learn to ignore the flashy marketing and go right to the supplement facts panel. Second, know what EPA/DHA ratio makes sense for your goals. 3, actively go to the company's website and look for that certificate of analysis. 4, prioritize products that have that third-party seal, like USP. It just adds another layer of trust. And finally, and this is probably the most important one, talk to your doctor. Make sure you're taking what's right for you. Ultimately, what this all comes down to is trust and transparency. The reputable companies, the ones who are willing to show you their homework with things like COAS and third-party certifications, they're giving you the tools you need to make a really informed choice. Because in the world of supplements, the story never ends with the promises on the front of the bottle. The real answers are always hidden in the data, in the science, and in doing a little bit of your own research. So the question is, are you ready to start looking for them?